Hey, Bruce Naylor here, your boomer consumer, and I want to talk today about streaming with the Arylic S10 streamer. Now, I personally stream all day, every day for background music at work, and then I use streaming music to, if I'm thinking about buying a CD or an album, and I want to make sure that, it's something I'm going to like, streaming is a great way to do that. And there's a lot of different streaming sources out there, including internet radio, which I happen to be a big fan of. But we're talking about the Arylic S10. This sells for under $90. As a disclaimer, this was sent to me at no cost by Arylic. However, all opinions are my own. No one's reviewed the video prior to posting. And I'm going to give you my honest opinion of this device. So this allows you to stream both through Wi-Fi, a wired connection, Bluetooth 5.0. You can plug in USB hard drive, thumb drive to the back of it. If you have a phone, you can plug that in as well. So you don't have to have this hooked up to a computer in order to use it. You're free of the computer. All right? Supports AirPlay. AirPlay 1, not 2. The only difference really is AirPlay 2 supports them like a multi-zone. If you have more than one device, you can stream to multiple rooms. QPlay, DLNA, UPnP. So you have those capabilities. Multi-room zone compatible. So if you have more than one, then again, you can set these up in various rooms, synchronize your streaming, etc. It comes with its own, it's basically a preamplifier, streamer, and DAC all in one unit. Decode up to 24-bit, 192 kilohertz decoding on there, but it only outputs 16-bit 44.1. You cannot use this with an external DAC. However, that's CD quality, and I think for most people that's going to be way good enough. All the streaming services you can really want. You have Spotify, Deezer, Tidal, Qobuz, iHeartRadio, Internet Radio, TuneIn, Amazon Music HD, and more. You get the free 4Stream app, which is actually quite a good little app for Amazon, for Android and iOS. Then it functions as a preamp and streamer all in one. And it will work with music on a thumb drive up to 1,024 tracks. And that's kind of a hard limit on there. Now let's just take a quick look at the front panel on here. It's already connected to Wi-Fi. This is the, right there you go, it's on the network. And then you have your infrared port on here. You have LED for your auxiliary input and your network. If it's Bluetooth, that would actually glow blue. And I think if you use USB, that will glow like a yellowish orange color. So this thing fits in the palm of your hand. It's not very big. It just weighs a few ounces. The side panel is aluminum, and then you have this high gloss black. And I've cleaned and cleaned and cleaned on this, but any little dust particles are going to show up in this video, but it's actually quite nice indeed. Going to the back, all right, this is the meat and potatoes of this. The sleep reset button, just tap it once, you put it to sleep, tap it again, you wake it up. A LAN port, this USB port, again, this is for maybe plugging in a thumb drive or a portable hard drive. Your auxiliary in, auxiliary out. And what I use this with is my vintage receivers. And so I just use that 3.5 millimeter to dual RCA cable connection out of here into there. And then this is strictly for power. You cannot, again, connect this to an external DAC. Let me show you what you get in the box. You get, of course, the Arylic. You get a USB cable with the 5-volt charging brick, which I have to actually have it plugged in so you can see the light. Okay. You get a remote. Let's talk about the remote for just a second. Nice little remote. It runs on 2 AAA batteries. You have an off and on button. You can turn off the LEDs if you wish. You can mute your inputs, USB, auxiliary in, Bluetooth, optional in. Maybe that's optical. There's not an optical input on here though. This is your play pause, volume up, down, fast forward and reverse. There's your Wi-Fi button. And then some tone controls, bass up, treble up. Want to set back the flat, bass down, treble down, de-emphasize bass. And then you can create playlists with the app, and you can easily access it by a push of a button. So maybe have, a workout playlist, what have you, and you can easily get to it. That is what comes on the remote. Also in the box, you get this little handy quick start guide. This is brain dead simple to set up, folks. It just is. It took me like 2 minutes. Basically, you just have to, when you go to use it the first time, you want to hold the power button and plug it in at the same time. And then in this case, the network light flashed, and then you connect it to, you open the 4Stream app, and it'll locate the device and finish setting up the network. It took like 2 minutes to set up, and we were in business with that. Also in the box, you're going to get a couple of cables. You're going to get this male-to-male 3.5 adapter, and plug a phone into there, what have you. Don't want to make a lot of noise here because I got a loose cable on here. But you get this little RCA cable, dual male to one male, 3.5 millimeter. Probably would recommend maybe invest in a slightly better quality cable. This will get you going out of the box, but for the long haul, maybe I'd get a little bit better cable on there. Okay, let's talk about the 4Stream app. So once you're set up with Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, what have you, this is where you're going to manage your sources and control the S10. The first thing you've got is any presets you might create. This you can get to them rather quickly right there. Then my library. This would be your local music, like on my iPhone. However, because I'm using Apple Music, it can't access any of the music files or Apple Music playlists. And that's not Arylic's fault. That is squarely on Apple. Then the various music services. You see TuneIn, Internet Radio, Pandora, Deezer, Art Radio, Spotify, Tidal, Napster, Qobuz. Okay. Does it do MQA? No. How about DSD? No. Again, 16-bit 44.1 output, which is good enough, I think, for most people, especially if you're looking for a streamer in the more budget-friendly area. Manage music services, tap on that, and you can turn off any services that you're not interested in or you don't use. I happen to be a big fan of the Internet Radio, by the way. Let me get back out of here. There we go. Now let's go into device. We tap this little gear icon. Here's where you can rename the S10, give it a more user-friendly name if you want. Get any speaker information that you want. And by speaker, they're referring to the streamer itself. The Wi-Fi status, strength, IP address, all that sort of thing. All right. We can use it as an alarm clock if we want. Then we can get to the EQ settings. You can adjust your bass and treble. Or, of course, you can do it on the handy remote control. It's up to you. But pretty much that's the preamp portion of it, right? And then, of course, your preset content. This is where you can create your various presets. Boom, and we're back out of there. Go back to browse. Under devices, see, been there, okay. Under settings, not much to see under settings. It's the version. And if you tap on that, it tells you what firmware that you're running on there on the About screen. That's pretty much how you use the 4Stream app. So I just wanted to share my thoughts and opinions of the Arylic S10. First off, I was very impressed with how easy it is to set up and get going. Connect to your network or via Bluetooth, choose the streaming service you want, enter your credentials, and there you go. You're in business, all right? Very simple to connect it to an amplifier, integrated amplifier, etc. Okay, it outputs 16-bit 44.1 kilohertz. You cannot hook it up to an external DAC. I get that. CD quality output, I'm perfectly fine with that. It's got a perfectly adequate DAC built in. I like the fact that it supports all these various streaming services in case you want to try new ones out. Maybe you want to abandon an old one. Very simple to do with this. Don't like the fact that it doesn't support Apple Music directly, but yes, what AirPlay is for. So you go into Apple Music and then you can just beam or stream to AirPlay and Well, you're good. That's an Apple problem. It's not an Arylic issue. Somebody's going to ask me, hey, Bruce, does it support gapless playback? It does not. Does not support gapless. I think that's a DLNA issue. I think streamers that incorporate DLNA have the gapless, don't have the gapless playback. What about latency? Not bad on here. It's around about 3 to 4 seconds between tracks, you know, when you jump from one to another. That's not terrible. That's not terrible at all, in my opinion. The remote, it's an IR remote. You need to be in that line of sight. Sometimes it can be a little bit on the finicky side. Doesn't mean it doesn't work, but you want to make sure it's pointed directly at the S10. I like to go to the comments sections of forums and read what, not what other reviewers are saying. I'm not that guy. But I do like to read comments and reviews by people that actually own this device. I've seen more than one person say, well, this is kind of a poor man's Sonos. It does almost everything a Sonos does for a fraction of the cost. I don't know, folks. I don't own a Sonos. I never had a Sonos device, all right? But I can tell you, for under 90 bucks, this thing is great. I really have enjoyed using it, and I'm going to continue to do so. In fact, I may personally invest in the S50 model at some point, or buy more of these because they're that good. I'm impressed with the sound quality of this unit. It sounds, I grade things very simply. Either sounds bad, like the speaker on the old portable AM radio, that sounds bad. My laptop speaker's bad. Okay, that's my car stereo. It sounds okay. And then good. That's the sound I get out of quality speakers, amplifier, etc. I say this is good. It sounds good. What more can I say? I'm not going to get into all the high, all the superfluous and flowery audiophile language. I'm going to say this thing sounds darn good. I highly recommend it. You absolutely cannot go wrong with this streamer. So that is it. That is my review of the Arylic S10. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.